30 years before the Pilgrims landed at Plymouth Rock, 117 men, women, and children waded across the shores here to Roanoke Island. And the first child born of the colonists was Virginia Dare. Join us today as we talk about the lost colony from Roanoke Island. I'm Jen of Walk with History, and we're here at Roanoke Island, actually Fort Raleigh National Park Service site. And this monument here that was erected in 1896 pretty much says it all. And it's very poignant of what I want to talk about today, because being Women's History Month, I want to talk about the first child born of colonists here in America happened in 1587, and it was a girl, and her name was Virginia Dare. So on this site in August of 1585, is the end of July, beginning of August, colonists set out from England by Sir Walter Raleigh and built a fort calling themselves the New Fort in Virginia. These colonists were the first settlers of the English here in America. And they returned to England in 1586 with Sir Francis Drake. So you had men that came here, set up a fort here, under the understanding of Sir Walter Raleigh, who got funding from Queen Elizabeth, to basically privateer the Spanish ships that were coming up from Florida. Remember, Florida is a Spanish colony. They're getting lots of gold, lots of money. The English want in on it. So they think, oh, if we set a fort here in the North Carolina region, we can maybe commandeer those ships or take over those ships and take over that money. So Sir Walter Raleigh gets that okay, comes here, sets up a fort here. This is why it's called Fort Raleigh. You see the earthworks, and we'll go over there. In 1585. When they first come here, they're actually greeted by the first peoples that are here, the Algonquin, and they actually are very friendly with each other. They learn a lot about each other. It's a great mutual relationship. They trade together. But it's when another group comes in 1586, and the winter hits and people start to get hungry, and the Algonquin don't trade as much food with them because they've got to feed their people, that the English get upset and actually attack them and kill their leaders. And in retaliation, they fight back. And so Sir Francis Drake happens to be coming by here in July of 1586 and takes those men back with him. Queen Elizabeth is very motivated by Sir Walter Raleigh telling her that the Spanish are becoming a richer country because of their American colony. They're able to get gold from their American colony. They are able to have stronger ships off the coast of America. So he is persuading her to have a colony. He gets a group of people, he gets a good friend of his, John White, to recruit men, women, their families who want to start a new colony. So this is a cool map. These show you where the colonists came from, the communities in London. And here's Sir Walter Raleigh's home. But the colonists came from all over London. So here's a depiction of Eleanor White. This is John White's daughter, who he brings with him on the expedition. She is married to Ananias Dare. They land July 22nd of 1587, and little Virginia Dare is born August 18th, 1587. Imagine in 1585, when the first group of men that came from England with Sir Walter Raleigh dug in to make these earthen forts here. And then in 1587, when John White brought his expedition of the 117 men, women, and children, they found this old earthwork and they used it, they refortified it to build their homes, and they put up like a wooden blockade like this around to keep them safe. But this is where they originally lived. When you look inside, it's not very big. And if you think of 117 Men, women, and children living inside here. This is very close quarters. This group, 117 men, women, children, made history here on Roanoke Island with the birth of Virginia Dare on August 18th, 1587. She's baptized 2 days later on August 20th, 1587. She's the first colonist born in Virginia. She is the first female colonist born in Virginia. And by the end of 1587, the colonists are upset because they don't have food and they're hungry, so they send John White back. This again, Virginia Dare's grandfather. They send him back to England and ask him to bring provisions and help. Well, he goes back, but war starts with Spain and England, and the Spanish Armada is brought together, and every ship of England is needed. And so John White can't get a ship to get back here to check his family for 3 years. And in those 3 years, when he gets back, there's nobody here. When John White came back in 1590, the word Croatoan was carved on a post in the fort. So it's like someone had taken the time to carve it on a post, left it in the fort. And then CRO was on a nearby tree. It's not something that's done quick on the fly in the middle of a battle, in the middle of a siege or a fight. It's something that is more kind of planned out. Croatoan at the time is known to be, again, a First Peoples tribe off the island of Hatteras. Unfortunately, a storm comes in and the expedition there with John White cannot go and look at it and search it. He has to go back to England. But in the years after, Sir Walter Raleigh will come to Hatteras Island and explore and look for the Croatoans, but there's no trace of the lost colony ever found. So people wonder what happened to them. And there's three kind of theories that people have come up with. They were attacked, they died of natural causes, they left voluntarily. And there's theories and evidence to support each. None has been conclusive. They went to Croatoan as it was carved. They went to the Chesapeake as they originally wanted to. They moved inland for protection. They could have done any of those. Were they attacked? Did the American Indians kill them? Like I said, it looked like everything had been taken down in the fort, so that probably didn't happen. Did the Spanish kill them? This is a English and Spanish war going on, and the Spanish are present in present-day Florida. There's no records found to prove that the Spanish did anything like that. John White found nothing of the houses, of the settlements. Everything had been taken down. They died of disease, although that was deadly, and they probably did suffer from disease. There were no graves found by John White. Starved to death. That might have happened, but again, there was no bodies or graves found. More than likely, they did leave voluntarily. There is a playhouse of the Lost Colony that will go through the story of that original 1587 colony, the stories of Virginia Dare and her parents, of John White, and just that whole expedition, and really great vantage point. But one of the really cool things here is this plaque I noticed. And it says, on this spot, Franklin D. Roosevelt witnessed the 23rd performance of the Lost Colony, August 18th, 1937. And if you've been paying attention, August 18th is Virginia Dare's birthday. to downtown Mateo off of Roanoke Island. They have a shipping area here, but what's really cool is across the pier, they have a recreation of what the British ship would have looked like that the colonists took to come over here in the 1580s. My final thoughts as I leave Fort Raleigh National Historic Site and I think about the Algonquin that lived here and the first English settlers that came here, I'm walking in their footsteps. I'm in the same places they were. It is just amazing to be here and to be a part of this history. If you want to see more content like this, we have more videos in the links, especially from this part of North Carolina, all about the history of the coast. I'm just amazed that people were so brave to set out on an adventure, on an expedition with your family to start new, to break your family ties, to break everything you know for a new land, a new area, to fortify a new way of life. And I'm so glad that they did, because this land became America. On to my next Walk with History.